What is up? I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Halterman. This is Blinkers Off. What's up, dude?
What's up, man? How's it going today?
It's good. Snowed in. How's snow day? Big snow day over here. I got a bunch of snow. Well, a bunch for Missouri. We got like 8 or 9 inches, I think it was. Still some more coming, I think. So got two little boys. Actually, I got 2 little boys and a niece over. So it's just been a wild shit show going on over here at my house today.
So it's a little adult time for Jared, where you're counseling a little bit, therapist, so to speak. So, I like it.
Yeah. We went outside and played in the snow, but it's so cold that we were out there for like 15 minutes. Anybody with the kids, especially young kids, I'm gonna guess your day and my day were vastly different.
Vastly different, yeah.
I'm gonna guess you didn't spend much time outside today.
No, I did have to walk the dog once, but it was okay. She likes the snow, so it's fun to watch her run around in it. But no, other than that, that's been it. I've been outside for 5.5 to 10 minutes, right around in that range, I would say. So no worries here. Pretty smooth day.
It's and actually while we're doing it, so I don't have any babysitters or anything. So the kids are downstairs. Just threw a bag of Doritos down the stairs. Say, hey, just you guys get hungry. Here you go. Don't bother the show.
Right.
The house was a mess, but you know what? That's part of the snow days. Yeah, Mark. St. Peters, Missouri has about 10 inches of snow and ice. Yeah, that's the thing. We got ice before this. So you guys did too. I don't know what we ended up getting, but we had ice before, so a nice little glaze. It was slick as hell before the snow even came, and then we got all this snow. So it's cold as shit here. I mean, it's like 0 degrees. Feels like 0 degrees. I think it's gonna be 0 the next couple of days. So it's not melting anytime soon either. So it's gonna be Oaklawn's canceled. I mean, shit, man. It's at least we can watch, Florida this weekend.
Hey, Gulfstream, Aqueduct, and Santa Anita are a go. Believe it or not, Aqueduct's going to be able to run. Usually you hear winter weather, you go, oh, no, well, they're canceled. But no, they're not. It's actually warm in New York, believe it or not. It's in the 40s. Everything good for the tracks that had the bigger races today. Or this weekend, I should say. So that's good. But Oaklawn out for the weekend. And like I said, pretty much everything around here is just going to be at home. For the foreseeable future. Like you said, it's not going to get warm enough to melt anything, and our roads, or at least our side roads, don't get cleared until they melt. So we're stuck for a while.
Yeah, doesn't it feel like too? Like it's funny. Of course, my kids are still too young for the school stuff, but I see it, and it's like our days of snow days would be like even if a pending storm like this, you would still have to wake your ass up the next day and be watching the little ticker at the bottom of the screen to see if your school showed up. Of course, we were Aurora, so we were always, the very first one, or if you missed it, you had to wait for the whole thing to come back around.
Yep.
But you never knew. These days, it's like, it's Tuesday. We're going to go ahead and cancel the next 3 days just because I think the storm's going to be bad. It's crazy.
It is crazy. It is crazy. And you're absolutely right. I can remember getting up all the time. Aurora was where we were, and then there was a town called Ava. And if you saw Ava, you're like, shit, we're going to school. Because Aurora would be before Ava.
Right.
So
Ava always felt like they were out.
I know. You're right. Every time it would snow like an inch, you'd be like, fucking Ava, they're out. And Aurora's going, it's so funny you said that. I was like, that's the first thing I think of too, is watching the little ticker on the bottom. Yeah, but no, they definitely... It's just like, flake of snow. Well, we're out 3 days. Yeah,
I know. They don't know how bad it was. If you missed it, then you'd be like, oh, okay. Mount Vernon's out. They're out. So that means we got to be out. Like if they're out and we're not, I'm going to be pissed. And you're just like,
if you missed it, you would look for the towns nearest to you, like Maryville, Mount Vernon, Monette. Okay, they're all out. And then if you got back and it was just Ava, you were really pissed off, like you said.
Yeah, exactly. Now it's like, I feel like they'd go out, you're like, well, so-and-so is driving the roads this morning to check the conditions to see if we have school. Right. It's like, now they're just like, just cancel it. It's like, whatever. Just cancel. Just send a text message, say, we're out.
Yeah.
So it's, these kids don't know how good they have it these days because and now it's like virtual learning, all that bullshit. So it's like, we had to trek it,
Yeah.
It was awful. We'd go uphill both ways in the snow.
Well, hey, if COVID would have happened when we were in school, they would have sent our asses. They wouldn't have said you're staying home. So
you guys are good.
Fine. Yeah.
You need a mask, my ass, right? Who cares?
Right. Yeah.
You guys get worse shit. Like the flu is worse for you guys, and no one, especially in Aurora, these little schools, no one really cared.
No.
Stay away from each other. But yeah, snow's happening, but we have racing, and we had a big event obviously last weekend with the Pegasus World Cup. That was huge. We'll save that. We're gonna talk all about the Pegasus, and of course, the Knicks Go Life is Good matchup we talked forever last week about, and it seemed like it didn't really live up yet again. It's just crazy how we build these matchups up, and this one seemed like if there was ever one that's for sure gonna, it's got to, right? These horses are so fast, and it didn't live up to it. Life is Good just dusted them, and Knicks Go was third on the first call. We'll get into that race, but just quickly, what were your? I mean, as you've had time to kind of digest that race and what we saw, like, how do you make sense of that?
Well, I kind of went back and watched a lot of Knicks Go's efforts, and they never really like pushed him to the front. He always just kind of was on the front because he was naturally faster. So, I think when Life is Good took it to him and then cleared him, I think Rosario just rode him like he always does. He says, "Oh, I'll just hold the reins and let him do whatever he wants," instead of trying to go out and get him, which obviously you can't win if you do that. So there's that. Magic made the point of maybe Knicks Go doesn't have that gear to go get him. Maybe he's just more of a grinder, a fast grinder, but one that just likes to get in front and be naturally faster than everybody. I don't know. I mean, end of the day, it was an old-fashioned ass kicking. I mean, it was never a race from the beginning. It's like I said, it's like showing up for the Super Bowl and you got two teams that you think are evenly matched and 28-0 at the end of the first quarter. I mean, that's what it felt like. I mean, anybody that understands racing and has watched those two horses knew really on the first turn there was no reason to watch the rest of the race. I mean, Knicks Go absolutely put it to him. It dominated. It didn't really have to run that fast to do it. The fraction's pretty normal. And last point I'll make is I think that's why we go so crazy when the matchups actually materialize and we talk about them for years, because they just don't very often, right? Like Jackie's Warrior Life is Good, at Saratoga in the Alan Jerkins.
Right.
We talk about that forever because actually they're to the hype, but they don't usually.
They don't. I mean, it happens more times than it certainly happens. Like if there's a buildup happening, it never happens. Like more times than not, So that's why going up to this, it just seemed like so likely that it would happen. So I'm like, you got to enjoy this and try to just watch this race and as a fan, because you don't get these matchups that often, and yet here we are. Like you said, it's funny how Knicks Go his entire career, but especially like the last year. You knew he was one of those horses that at least I could like the first quarter of the race, I'd be like, I could tell you if he was going to win or not.
Yep.
And it's like immediately in this race, you're like, well, it's over. I mean, we were watching it obviously together on the live stream, and you're just like, well, you couldn't even believe it was happening. One, and two, you're like, well, this is never going to be close. So, and it wasn't. Life is Good. That's the thing. Nick says time form posted fractions. It said Knicks Go ran faster fractions chasing Life is Good than he did leading in the Breeders' Cup Classic. I didn't see that. Halter, I know you're a time form guy, but
I don't think that's accurate.
I didn't. That seems impossible
because the half at the Breeders' Cup was 45.77, and the half at the Pegasus World Cup was 46 and change. So I don't know if that's accurate or not.
Unless it was early in the race, I don't know. But the early that's the thing, they never seemingly went that fast. But even after the race, Brad Cox was just like, "Damn, I mean, what can you do? That horse just ran." I don't think if he would have gone, if he said, "Oh, he should have been more aggressive," I don't think it would have mattered. Life is Good was clearly the horse that we. That you and I picked and that most of us thought, and he seems like a horse that's going to continue to get. I mean, that horse, I don't know how you get that horse beat.
I mean, somebody's going to have to do to him what he did to Knicks Go. I think I mean, I think it's just crazy to think that he went out there and like you said, he rounded the corner and it's like, well, he's got to be going 21 if he's already like 5 ahead, and he's like 5 ahead and running a 23 half. I like, you can't let him have that trip, right? So I mean, somebody's gonna have to run with him, but now he's gonna be the guy, or the horse, I should say, that nobody can really run with early. It was Nick's Go. Then Nick's Go met this horse, and now who's going to run with him? I guess Flightline is the one, right? Maybe he can go get him and challenge him, but it's going to take somebody on the front end to go soften him up.
Oh, well, Nick says he can't get it to us. I don't know.
I mean,
either way, he says pace figures. So maybe
that is different for sure. Yeah, you could just tag us in a tweet, I guess. I don't know. No, pace figures are different from actual fractions. So, like I said, I didn't see this tweet one way or the other. So,
all right, let's do the show. Today's show, we will preview, or I mean, we are going to recap the 2022 Pegasus World Cup, all 7 stakes that we had go down last weekend at Gulfstream Park, including how our betting and wagering strategies fare. We got a lot to talk about that as well. We're going to preview. We have 3, not 1, not 2, but 3 Kentucky Derby prep races running this weekend at, like Halterman said, at Aqueduct, Gulfstream, and Santa Anita. The 250K Holy Bull Stakes, 250K Wither Stakes, and the 200K Robert B. Lewis Stakes. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm checking this out now as we get ready. Yeah, so it is their pace figs, which is different from raw time. But yeah, it is. He was running according to their pace figs. Let's see here. Now you got me down a rabbit hole, damn it. Let's see what he says. Yeah. So this race. Yeah, so they adjust the time in terms of how they think the track is playing. So that's what the pace figs are. So that's what that means. Yeah, it does look like he was running, according to them, faster pace figs chasing there. So yeah, there you go. Jared's like, I don't give a fuck about this.
We can talk. Sorry, we can talk about it. We'll bring it back up on the when we get to that race.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I would be interested in Craig Bukowski, the Timeform guy, is fantastic. To listen to him, what goes into that. He may explain it on his show this week. But yeah,
this goes to show you, you can't always just go like, well, they ran this and this fraction and this in that race and this race. You know what I mean? Like, it's not always just perfectly. Obviously, different tracks, different distances. I mean, you never know really how fast they're going until you really dive into the numbers, kind of like you guys are saying. So it is tricky sometimes to compare.
And again, I don't want to put words into Timeform's mouth here, but what they say is, hey, we adjust speed figures based on how the track's playing versus time. So they're doing that with pace as well. So it makes sense, and that's interesting. Thanks for sharing that, Nick. I like I said, I hadn't seen it yet, so that's interesting.
Yeah, way to throw a whole monkey wrench in the whole show, Nick.
I know, yeah. We'll never get back on track now.
Just wait till we get back to it here in a second.
That is really super interesting. Like I said, the fractions did not tell that story. So, okay, let's go.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Last Saturday, the Pegasus World Cup went down at Gulfstream Park. Of course, we had 3 Pegasus World Cup races, highlighted by the Life is Good versus Nick's Go matchup in the Pegasus World Cup, $3 million Pegasus World Cup. But we had 7 stakes total on the card, so we're going to go through each one of those and kind of coincide that with, if you're watching it live, you can see it on the screen here. If you're not, I urge you to go to our YouTube page, watch this video back so you can kind of see how these bets were in the guide. Those of you that played along with us in the live bankroll, we had a great day. We really did. We probably had one of the better ROIs we've had. And, we matched up last year's. We did well again 2 years in a row. And knock on wood, I guess we have time to not jinx this. We have yet to not pick a winner in the Pegasus World Cup. We had not missed one of those races yet, and this year seemed like the toughest one yet, right? Trying to decide between Nixco and Life is Good. So everything's been really, really good on that front. But we'll start things. Well, first of all, Halterman, I'll let you kind of take over in terms of the budget, how much we had to spend, and what it kind of started off with.
Yeah, we wanted to start. We wanted to keep it at 300, and we went with 310. So we went over budget by 10, but that's all right. We just kind of wanted to keep it, in a little bit of in that area, which is funny because the 2021 Pegasus we bet $310 as well. As I was looking up the stats, getting prepared for the show. So we bet $310, and we started off. And we do all the stakes, by the way. So it's 7 races, $310 total. We started off with the La Provence, and geez, I can't talk. But anyway, we started off with this race. Originally, we had a win bet on Always Shopping. Then we looked at each other and we're like, "Do you really like that horse?" Like, no, I'm not like in love with her. And you're like, "No, me neither." So we canceled that. We ended up playing a try. We put her and an Honor Hop on top of her Honor Hop, Sorrel, and Beautiful Lover. And then that again in the third spot. And of course, we would have boxed it. We would have hit it, but we didn't box it. We wheeled it and we missed it because it came in 6, 1, and 4. It's hard to box when you got those short prices. So what are you going to do? It was just a miss.
Yeah, I mean, those are always frustrating because you're right there, like you kind of, you watched that race in, and I thought, well, gosh, we had that. I mean, we were all over those horses, but yeah, I mean, the try, I think paid 30, what was it? 20.90 for 50 cents. So it wasn't like anything, anything massive, but yeah, it would have been nice. Honor Hop was obviously extremely disappointing. That horse, you talk about stopping hard. Honor Hop was just done. And that was kind of the key of that. It was like, okay, Always Shopping probably should win. That's kind of the other thing. It's like, kind of thought she would win, but in case she doesn't, Honor Hop's going to be a price, which, was 10-1. So it's like, if that horse doesn't, maybe Honor Hop wins, then you get the underneath stuff. And so that's kind of the reasoning behind playing that trifecta wheel. And it just, it just didn't hit. It's one of those that all 3 of our horses ran well, but they were 4-1, 2 4-1s and even money. So it wasn't like there was anything, massive about that.
No, not at all. And like I said, it was just one of those situations. You box it, you might make $50-$60, but it's not really a good bet to do that. So you just move on. We were, we weren't excited out of all of them. That was the least excited we were about a race. I think one improvement we can make when we get to a race like that is not invest $24. Even though it's like, well, you play a $1 try, it's still not going to pay a whole lot. Yeah, but we're not excited about the race. So we could have just saved a little bit of the bankroll there. That's the only thing I kind of wish we would have done different.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, in those situations, maybe you play lower bases, but bigger, you don't use Always Shopping at all in the top spot. You get thinner, and you basically say, if this is going to hit, it's going to pay, because I'm not going to, and we're going to spend $12 or something. So
yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Beautiful Lover, by the way, pretty good. That was a nice effort. Always Shopping kind of was, did what I was fearful of and just got caught late, and that's why I didn't like to use her, as a win bet. I just thought she was way too dicey.
Yeah. She wasn't in like the greatest of form. So it was just kind of I'm with you. Like, we both were like, yeah, she'll win. And then we talked ourselves out of it. I'm glad we did.
All right, let's go to the 7th race, the WL McKnight. This was a good race here because we had the Avon, one of the Pletchers that was seemingly was coming in the race pretty well. And this horse went off as the favorite. Of course, you had a lot of kind of competitive, Sol Volante and Glen County. You like Glen County Media Blitz. Temple was in there. Bama Breeze. I mean, you had a bunch in there that that seemed like they might be interesting to beat. But Avon wanted nothing to do with that. This horse looked really, really good. Just was one of the, probably the first, really okay, wow, that was an impressive effort. And of course, we played a pick 3 here, and we included this horse in the first leg.
Yeah, $5 pick 3, and we used 3 horses here. Gosh, I wish we just would have used one and played it for 10, right? I mean, that would have been better, but hindsight 2020. We thought this race would be hard, and it really wasn't. It was super easy. Great top pick by you, and yeah, I mean, this is like never had to doubt this one at all.
Mm-mm. Yeah, I mean, because even you kind of, I mean, our obviously King Cause was not gonna give us anything there. But Glenn County was kind of there in a spot where you thought, okay, and the horse kind of loomed up there to make a run, but ended up fading a little bit to, I think, 5th maybe. But you could tell this 10 when the 10 broke, got in a good position off the break. You're like, this, and then the horse made a move on the turn, and you're like, this is over.
Yeah.
So that horse is obviously extremely talented. It seems like so. That was a good, even though it was a favorite, we were able to get past it and survive. And yeah, I'm with you. I wish we wouldn't have gone 3 deep.
We definitely, I'll say new, but you never say, you never know, but we definitely were really confident if we got through that first leg, we were going to hit this one.
Oh, for sure. Because let's get to the 8th race, which was the second leg. And was kind of a multi bet race for us because we had the 5 4 Graces in our sequence in the pick 3 with the 8 just one time, who was the horse we thought we both liked 4 Graces on top. The horse was 4-1 or something morning line. So we're like, well, we got to play a win there. So we played a win on her at $50 to win, but we also have her in the sequence. So she wins. It's huge. We also included, though, the 8 just in case, because we thought, well, if there's one horse that can beat her, it's the 8 just one time. And those horses finished 1-2. The 8 beats the 5.
I was very, very confident before the race that 4 Graces was going to win. And the only thing I was worried about was the 8, and hence why we played it that way. And when we put it together, we're like, well, we're both really confident in this 5, but the 8 was coming in from Penn National. And it's like, it's a whole deal of now she's with Brad Cox. And it's like, well, she might jump up and run a better race than what these other ones can run. So it's like, that's kind of the unknown. Let's throw her in there. But yeah, we were all about the 5. The 8 sits down in the gate, breaks it breaks bad, and it's like, we're going to win this. 4 Graces cuts the corner, saves all the ground. The 8's in the parking lot, and I'm like, oh my gosh. 4 Graces is like 3-1. We got 50 to win on the nose. Great. And then we're going to be alive to Regal Glory with 4 Graces winning this race, and that pick 3 would have paid even more. I'm like, this is great. And then here comes just one time, just goes right by. So I mean, that's why you play that horse. But at the same time, now we're 2 for 2 in the pick 3. We've got Regal Glory coming up, but we're also down $74, and it's like, okay, it all really is going to hinge on Regal Glory, how the thing's going to go one way or the other.
Yeah, that one, I believe I was watching that one from the urgent care that day, and I thought the way that 5, the hole opened up and the 5 just went right in the right on the inside. I thought this horse is gonna go. This horse is gonna win. And the 8, like you said, the 8 was way out there, and then you could tell this 5 is gonna have to. It's gonna have to sprout a few more legs if she's gonna hold off this this 8, because the 8 was much the best. I mean, they probably deserved to win that one.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so we were 0 for 1 on the win bet. But our pick 3 sequence was live. Now it wasn't live to much. It was, I think it was $30 ticket on that pick 3. Mm-hmm. I believe it was live to $100.
Yeah, like 103.50.
Which was the Pegasus World Cup filly and mare turf, which was race 9. And like you said, Regal Glory. That was our strongest play. If you listened to the podcast last week, that was the strongest opinion of the whole day. Regal Glory for Chad Brown. And we had her singled, of course, in the sequence. And we also had a win bet on her as well. Dude, I mean, she wins. And she was awesome. She looked unbelievable. But, she, you got pounded late, so you got less on the value there as well. It was like 4 to 5. So it would have been nice to get her at a better price, but she did what she needed to do.
Yeah, she absolutely did. And you're right. I wish we would have got a little bit better price, but we played kind of through her. That was the goal, to be alive for the pick three, to kind of blow that thing up a little bit and make more money on her and create that value on her, because we knew she would be bet down pretty hard. And it worked out, up the backside. If you were watching us live, I think Magic and I were on, and we both were like, Jesus, are you kidding me? Like, she's weak. We said all week how versatile she is, but she doesn't need to be second last on this Gulfstream Park turf course. We're like, oh, we're so screwed. And then it was the greatest feeling in the world when she rounds the corner and she passes like 8 of them, like they're standing still. She's got 2 to go. And the jock isn't even like asked her. And I'm like, oh, thank God she's going to win. And like I said, this was huge for us. It made the day. And it got us into the last 4 races, or excuse me, I'm sorry, last 3 races, with like, hey, we just got to cash it 1 ticket, and we're going to be good here. So yeah, she was dominant. It was a great race. She was just better than those horses, and she proved she much the best in that race.
How good do you think she is? I mean, is this like a up and coming? I mean, I guess she's not really up and coming, but is this one of like a serious contender for Chad Brown now this year?
I think we kind of know what she is. I don't know. This race was probably one of her better ones. I don't think she's like the top notch. I think she's just below it. She's very, very, very good, but I don't think she's like, gonna get to like Sister Charlie's level when she was at her best, that kind of thing. But she's good. She's good. You're gonna be able to take that horse anywhere, and she's gonna be able to compete and not embarrass you. And she did all year last year as well. And I mean, that was maybe better than anything she'd done last year.
Yeah, and Nick says she didn't even run her preferred race and stomp them. Yeah, it was just and you and I talked a little bit about that as well on the pod. Is like this is a class drop for her, really after what she's been running in. So that gave us a lot of confidence as well that Regal Glory, even though it was Pegasus World Cup Filly Mare Turf, yeah, she should be tough to beat here, and she was. So we cashed the win bet, we cashed the pick three. We're feeling good, like you said. We got another. We have 2 more win bets. Oh, I guess technically more, but we have 2 big win bets coming up. We really just need to hit one of them to feel really safe about this. So that's good. Perfect for the race 10, the Fred Hooper. And this was an interesting one for us because when I very first handicapped the race, this was the day before the guide came out. I had Fearless on top at Speaker's Corner second. And I told you, I was like, I need to sleep on the picks, and then we'll make final decisions and come up with the plan for the next day. And the next day, I looked at it more. I was like, Speaker's Corner, man, that horse is just not going to lose. Like, Fearless is going to get too much hype because of the thought of like, they're going to run this horse maybe in the Pegasus World Cup, and I just Speaker's Corner just is seemingly keeps getting better and better. And so I changed it, and that secured it. We said, okay, Speaker's Corner, there's another win bet. And man, this is what we got. At this point, we were very hot.
This was okay. So just a little background or behind the scenes on how we do this. I get the card immediately right when it comes out and go through it. And then Jared gets it a little later. He goes through it. He sends me his picks. I try to start to formulate a game plan, and then we get together and we do the final game plan. So we kind of have an idea before we get on the phone or meet on Zoom or whatever what we're going to do, but it's not final. And like you said, you liked Fearless, I like Speaker's Corner, and that's the shittiest situation when that happens because we both like the 2 favorites. And it's hard to get one or the other convinced to go in with a win because, no, I like that horse. I don't want to do that. And then the other thing is what can you really do in exotics with those 2? And it just creates a weird situation. So I was totally stressed about the 10th race, before we met. And when you changed your bet or your pick to Speaker's Corner, it was just a quick, well, that's a win bet because I'm so glad you did that. That horse is going to win. And it worked out. The horse was 2-1 at one point. That would have been fantastic. Ended up getting 3-2. Like I said, we were hot at this point. It felt like, wow, we can't lose. One race later, just wait. But we felt really good about that. And like I said, I'm glad you changed it. And it's a really nice horse. And I think this could be a grade 1 type by the time the year's over.
Yeah, Speaker's Corner and Fearless obviously were very much the best in this race. And Speaker's Corner was very much the best over Fearless. So those two, it was not a difficult decision on which one of the, I mean, as far as one of those two, it just was a matter of which one. And I thought Fearless just was going to get, and I mean, I'm glad it worked out that way. And yeah, we were able to cash another one. So we're sitting good.
Yeah.
So let's head into the last two here, the last two Pegasus races here. Race 11, the Pegasus World Cup Turf. Now, this is one, if you listened to the show or if you downloaded the guide, you knew that Halter and I were, we both said Colonel Liam could win this. If he comes back like he was, he's going to win. But off that kind of layoff, makes a lot of sense to try to beat him. So we did. Didn't work out. I picked a 20-1 morning line. A tone went off at ended up going off at 10-1. Space Traveler was, what was Space Traveler on morning line? 10-1 or 12-1?
He was 12-1, and he went down
12-1. That horse went off at 12-1. So
we
had a 10-1 and a 12-1 that we picked here. And the race goes off, and it's first off, you could tell Space Traveler's getting the worst trip of all time. Then a tone gets a really good trip and just wasn't good enough. And then Colonel Liam just said, okay, no one else wants to win this thing. I'll jump up here and win this thing. And he did. And this was another case of kind of like Regal Glory, where it's like, this horse is just better than everybody else here.
First of all, what really frustrates me about this bet is we should have boxed the try, because we had two big prices to go along with the two big favorites. Well, you're playing a try. Obviously, one of the big prices are going to be there for you to cash the bet. So that's where we screwed this up. We would have hit it if we would have boxed it. I think what did it pay? Like $70 for a 50 cent.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was worth it. And that was two favorites over a long shot in third. We screwed up the bet. We gotta be better than that. I'm really this one was the only one that really bothered me. I'm not bothered that our two horses we put on top didn't win. But I'm bothered that we knew that was a pretty good possibility, or at least a decent possibility, that Colonel Liam could show up and beat him, and we didn't really protect ourselves much. So I wish we could have boxed that one. I think that would have been smart of us. But overall, Space Traveler, if he gets through, if he gets a little bit better trip, if he's placed a little better, maybe he wins. And I'm not saying this, but it didn't happen. And like I said, I wish we would have boxed it. That's the only thing with that one.
That's the thing. You make it matters even worse. Not that we play many superfectas, but we had 5 horses, keyed there in the honestly, if you want, we had 4 horses keyed in the second spot, and that's the top 4. So that's even worse. That we were all over this race. It kind of reminds me a little bit of us jacking up the Kentucky Derby try.
Yep.
We had it.
Yep.
We literally we hit it. It was like an $800 try or something.
Mm-hmm.
We had it. We just got too cute with the wheel, and instead of just either boxing it or however we wanted to do it. So help people understand that, maybe, that are listening to this, and help us. How do you decide when it makes sense to play a wheel versus a box?
Well, if you have a very strong opinion, then you always need to wheel it, and a wheel is the answer most of the time, because you want to keep your denominations low, and so that's kind of why a lot of people wheel and why we do it as well. But again, in this situation, we had a 20-1, we had a 12-1 in the try, and we had them on top, which was smart. If they win, it's going to pay a ton. But we knew that the 6 Colonel Liam, if he showed up with his top race, would win, and we didn't have him anywhere in the top. So
right.
that was dumb. Now, again, if we would have played, the 4 favorites, well, you can't box those. You just can't do it. You got to wheel it. And really, if you're going to play 4 favorites, you got to have like 1 horse on top of 3 on top of 3. But that's a different story. But here, the bet, like I said, one of those horses that are 12-1 and 20-1 have to hit the board for you to win. And if one of them are in the top 4, it's going to pay enough to play a box. So it was just not very smart. I think for us, sometimes we've handicapped this for, we've done this for 10 years now at professionally, and we've done it before that as well. I think we were just so confident in our ability that we found a long shot here that we kind of overlooked that. Yeah, Colonel Liam's going to win if he's right. Like, yes, it's a layoff, but it is Todd Pletcher. He usually has them ready. So it is what it is, right? What can you do?
Yeah, I mean, it's frustrating whenever you can. I don't know where you had hit the road in there. I had the super, box basically in the guide. A tone never surprised Colonel Liam Space Traveler, and it's like it's annoying when you do that and you don't have anything to show for it. Like
Yeah,
to go. I mean, yeah, I get it. It's somewhat chalky, but not really because you've got a couple big prices in there to go and just completely nail that and. In a big race that's going to pay, that super, like I said, paid $83 for 10 cents. The 50-cent try paid almost $71.
Yeah.
It's right there. I mean, and we didn't do it. So
the handicapping was really good. And we just, sometimes we get a little greedy, maybe. It's like, well, we don't care. Colonel Liam wins. We don't want that payout. Well,
yeah,
if he comes in with shots, it's going to still pay. So screwed it up. No way around it.
Like Nick says, Colonel Liam into Life is Good double paid 8-1, and you talk about which is just insane. He will regret not playing that for a while. He tried to get too cute in the turf race and played a tone, and that's the definition, right? We get too cute a lot of times, and think we're gonna, like you say, it's like 8-1, like whatever 20-1. That's what we want, and instead it's like we're just giving you money, take it, right?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I think Nick said it, you said it, and I'll echo it as well. Sometimes you get too damn cute in these races, and that is a perfect example. And the bad thing about it, if you like Space Traveler, you watch it, go, damn, he could have. You watch a tone, you're like, damn, he ran well. He just wasn't quite there. Even if you tried to beat him with Never Surprised, you're like, shit, that horse ran good. It's just not quite good enough. So overthought it, got too cute, and thankfully we hit some other ones.
To that point, real quick, I do think, obviously, Colonel Liam, I mean, that horse is really, really good. Just a matter of keeping that horse healthy, it seems like. Never Surprised. I think that horse is going to win some stakes races. I mean, obviously, to draw that post and really run a really good race, I thought like Space Traveler, who knows? I mean, that horse came flying late. That horse he's ran into big races, so you got to think that eventually he'll kind of break through and get the trip. And Atone, to me, was that was one of those that I didn't feel bad about the pick, because I told on the pod last week, I was like, listen, he'll give you a run. Yeah. I just don't know how, we're going to find out how good he is. Is he good enough to beat this field? And he wasn't. But he, for half a second, you thought, well, here we go. Atone's going to, he's going to win this thing, but he's just kind of got that slow grind. So I think the right spot that Maker gets him in, I think he'll be able to win one of these. Not this race, obviously, but a decent race, I think, because I think he is good enough.
No, I agree. Yeah, I'm with you. I didn't have any arguments with Atone. I thought, shit, what more do you want out of him? He ran his race, and same. I mean, Space Traveler. It is what it is. I still don't know if he would have been good enough, but it would have been nice to see. But again, yeah, you can't. You picked two long shots. They ran well, and we didn't get paid, and that's because we're done with our bets in that race.
Yeah. Nick he's our most popular commenter tonight. Yep. Nick, appreciate it. He wants to see racing dudes do a betting summit of some sort. Stay tuned for that. We're starting to look into some ideas on doing these betting type seminars prior to the Breeders' Cup, prior to the Derby, prior to the Preakness, whatever, Pegasus, that are available to subscribers and things like that we can kind of get into basically the bankroll and how we're going to play this and stuff like that. So, we're definitely going to do that I think that's a plan as we get a little closer.
I tried to be a little more with Magic. We did some videos. I tried to be a little more transparent about some of the things that go on behind the scenes when we put this together and what we're thinking and why we're thinking it. And that's why we do these as well. So we've hit on a lot of little things that I think can be useful.
Every time we do one of these, I myself I'm like, yeah, that's something. Although I apparently have not learned since the Kentucky Derby because that's down too.
It's in our nature to try to just get a little too cute with those tries, I think. But
finally, let's go to the Pegasus World Cup. We kind of talked about that already. Race 12, of course, Life is Good versus Knicks Go. That was the build-up. That's what it was. Life is Good. Breaks maybe a tad slow, but Irad said afterwards, he's like, listen, after that, he's like, the horse, he just basically, I want to get to the lead. He did. And I don't know if it was planned. It seems like it may have been possibly planned a little bit with Stiletto Boy. And now, of course, Jose Ortiz aboard. Kind of, I didn't, the more I watched, I didn't necessarily think I don't think he cut off Knicks Go at all, frankly. But I do think him positioning that horse forwardly enough to where he kind of got in front of Knicks Go a little bit. That was just like an added salt into the wound a little bit if you were a Knicks Go person, because all of a sudden Knicks Go is in the third spot as they were in the first turn, which is usually where you'd be like, well, he's in the turn. He's going to make some kind of big move and kind of separate a little bit like he does. And all of a sudden he's in third.
I'll say this. I think there may have been some gamemanship, but it's 100% either Rosario or Knicks Go's fault, whoever you want to put it on. You are faster than that horse. They didn't do anything special to get in front of you. You let him get in front, That's where I'm at. It's Stiletto Boy, for fuck's sake. I mean, you're Knicks Go. You cannot let him do that to you. You have inside position. You could have got out there and not let him do that. So, I mean, that part of it is on. You can play with the jockey or the horse, whatever. I mean, as far as everything else, we're in a good position. If he lost, if Life's Good lost, we didn't lose money, and if he won, we made a good profit. And like I said, we never had to sweat for 1 second of the race. So I thought it would be a sweat all the way down the stretch, and just for the whole time was like, wow, he's up the backside, and I think he's gonna win by maybe like the length of the stretch. That's cool, So I loved it.
I think that's the thought that I keep struggling with a little bit, or at least it's so confusing. I get that Life is Good is really good, and that he was probably going to, the way he ran, he was probably going to win that race no matter what scenario you want to throw on here. But the fact that I just don't see any possible way, unless Knicks Go just simply is 70% of himself now or something, but there's no way that horse should be in third ever in this race. I get if Life is Good is going, and even though the fractions seem somewhat slower, like we talked about earlier, maybe it came back they were really moving, and he just couldn't quite get to Life is Good or whatever. That's fine, but to be in third in any part of this race, to me, is just unacceptable. If there was some design plan around that, or maybe Rosario pulled, I don't know, but there's no way that horse should be chasing Stiletto Boy at some point in this race. None. Because then by that point, it went from this is most likely over to it's way over.
I mean, it's crazy because I just, if I would have bet on Knicks Go, I would have been furious. Just furious, because it's like, guys, are we really riding for second? Because that's what it looks like. If this happens like this, you have no shot. And maybe if you rush him up there and you try to get him in position, maybe that burns him out and you have no shot. But wouldn't you rather try? I mean, my God, he had no shot to win that race. At any point of the race, did he even have one iota of a chance to win it? None.
There was never one part where you're like, uh-oh, Knicks Go. Hang on. Never.
It's so wild to me, because as I was thinking about this race for days, I thought, My one worry about Life is Good. He's drawn outside. Irad can sometimes be a passive rider. What if he doesn't go up there with him? And then it happened the opposite,
Yeah.
because I never thought Nick's Go wouldn't be up there with him. Maybe he's behind him, but he's in range, So it was crazy.
It's one of the only times you'll ever see a 3 on Nick's Go on the on the first quarter. Yeah, it's just it's crazy, right? The horse. It's like you said, like the horse, you knew it was over the whole way around, and there was it was never. It almost, to me, it almost looked like, okay, whoa, Life is Good broke well. Whoa, like, hey, I'm surprised we're so far back. Okay, let's just get up here for a second. Like, let me run this race like Life is Good is not in it, kind of thing. It seemed like, because you're right. If you're trying to win, like everyone in the world knows it ain't going to be because Nick's Go is rating in third or up for. I mean, you could just, like, that horse needs to put pressure on, and maybe he's not capable of it.
I mean, maybe that's the case, and maybe it's a situation where he saw him shoot out there, he being Nick's Go, and was like, "I'm not, forget that. Like, I'm not going out there. These horses are smart. Don't think they're not." He may have saw that horse was just like, "Okay, well, we'll try to run this race back here and just let him, whatever he wants to do, let him go do it." I don't know. I don't know.
I think we have learned, and Nick kind of brought it up a little bit. I think we have learned a pretty good lesson here. Well, we already knew it, or at least felt like we knew it. This secured it. We've seen it once before. I think just once, right? With the Arrogate and Chrome. When you have horses that are seemingly this super power matchup merging in this race, this race in particular, I'm not going to speak to other races. When one's basically it's the retirement match and the other one is kind of on the upward trajectory, take the upward trajectory horse every time, because I think what we're seeing, and especially you look back to the Chrome days when that was a huge purse, they're like, well, it's a huge purse, we have to try it. You know what I mean? And you don't really love that angle whenever instead it's like, well, shit, there's a huge purse, I'm gonna win it. And that's what Arrogate did, and that's of course what Life is Good did.
Yeah, that's very well said. I totally agree. And it seemed like a situation where they were just kind of like, well, if he doesn't get out the easy lead, just try to where he doesn't embarrass himself, kind of,
A little bit,
what it felt like. And to his credit, we were kind of talking trash, not really trash, just telling the opinion of what we thought at the time. We were like, well, he's off the board. Like, he's not going to kick on.
Yeah.
He fought it. And, he held off Stiletto Boy. He got second. He was making up ground on Life is Good, but only because Life is Good, like, Irad was just petting him the last 16th of a mile. He didn't really ride him. So, but it shows you that Nick's Go didn't quit, and I'll give him credit for that, because I thought he'd throw in the towel. So give him credit. But he couldn't run with that horse early, and I mean, that was it. And we've seen, I mean, nobody knows that better than Nick's Go. They haven't been able to run with him for all of 2021. They couldn't, and he just dominated, and it happened to him. He got Nick's Go'd, so to speak.
It's gonna be a huge year for Life is Good. Stays healthy. This is gonna be a massive, monstrous year, because this horse is a freak of nature. Who knows what we'll see from him this year, assuming he can stay healthy. They're talking about Dubai possibly. Everyone's like, no, don't go to Dubai. Like, to stay here, keep bubble wrapped, get him to the or get him to not the Travers, get him to the the Whitney or something like that.
Yeah.
Get him to the Breeders' Cup Classic, basically, because we saw what happened to Arrogate. Of course, that's everyone always thinks about that with the Dubai World Cup. But all right, Halterman, Life is Good wins. We had a $50 win bet on him to kind of secure that day. So give the final numbers here. We had 310 wagered on the day. How do we end up?
Yeah, we ended up making a profit of $98.50 for a 31.8% ROI. So on a chalky day like this, that's about what you can hope for. The day kind of reminded me of the Travers. We had a similar ROI that day of 34.3%. So when you had the chalk coming in, and even especially with you have a pick 3 and you hit it, but it came in chalk. So, that could have exploded and it didn't. So yeah, right around that 30% ROI is what you're looking for. And that's what we got there. So overall, I should say we've done this. Let me count real quick. We've done this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. We've only lost money once out of the 8, and it was only a $12 loss. That came on Preakness Day last year. Overall, if you've played the bankroll through all 8 of these guides, you are up $913.50, an ROI of right at 30%, just a smidge under 30%.
Not so bad.
I think we've done pretty well with this. This was before the Breeders' Cup Classic in 2020. Jared called me and he's like, "What do you think of? I mean, what article could we add into our guides?" And we were talking for a while, and I don't remember. You may have thought of it. I mean, I don't remember who thought of it. He's like, "Why don't we just do a live bankroll?" I'm like, "Okay." Threw it together, had a great Breeders' Cup, and it's like I said, it's been pretty good from there on. Just that loss in the Preakness is the only thing, only blemish on the resume, but it's become one of the most popular things we do. Thank you guys for supporting it like you do. Had a lot of people email me on Saturday evening saying, "Gosh, just really like when you guys do that. It's a lot of fun." So yeah, 98.50, like I said, 31.8% ROI, and on to the next time that we do it. I think that'll be probably Super Saturday in April, the last round of preps.
Yeah, it's turning. I think it actually was like we were gonna have someone else do an article or something that fell through, and we were like, well, we need to do something here. And that's how it kind of came about. And then it's like, oh well, they like this, and it's turned into kind of a premier type aspect. And a lot of people buy the guide just to bet along and follow along with what we're doing. And obviously, if you've done that, you can't have any complaints, especially when you consider 8 of them is what we said, and one has been like kind of a shit day. That was tough, but it wasn't like we lost a ton of money. It was just we could never get anything going.
Well, what would happen in the Preakness, we hit all of our win bets, and then except for maybe I think we missed one, but we missed every exacta and every trifecta, and so we kind of set it up that way. It's like, okay, if we can hit the win bets, we'll break even. But we had a couple of big exactas that just missed. I remember that day. So we still was like, wow, we did well. We just couldn't quite, get there.
Yeah. So if you guys are interested in, going back through some of these, you can go to the racingdudes.com website, go to the products page. You can see the wagering guides there. Holy Bull right now. We have a Holy Bull guide available right now. No bankroll going on with that, but we do have it's our basic version of the inside track to the Holy Bull, 10 pages, every stakes race covered, of course, every race covered as well. That's available right now, but you can also see all the past guides we've ever done, and you can go through and download those for free. So you can download this one, see how we bet these, and really start to maybe it helps you, and go back and look at the Kentucky Derby one where, we had a good day, but it could have been a huge day with that missed try there as well. So, go back through. It helps us to go back through these as well, like we mentioned. But yeah, great job. That's a wrap on the Pegasus World Cup. And hopefully this bankroll thing keeps going. All right, let's get into some Derby preps real quick here.
Let's do it.
I'm ready. I'm getting the itch to handicap, getting that itch. Yeah. Sorry.
That was really dumb. Sorry.
I do it for the drugs, Halterman.
Okay? I get it. Yeah.
That's what I do it for. So I do all this for.
Yes, the drug money. Yeah. Oh, jeez.
That's why I'm here.
Good.
All right.
I'm glad it's out in the open.
On that note. All right. Let's do the Withers first. The good old Withers.
Let's do it.
All right. 3, 2, 1. We've got a hell of a Derby prep weekend lined up here. Saturday and Sunday, 3 Kentucky Derby prep races, and we're starting to we're in February now. The races are starting to come up a little stronger. We're starting to find a little bit more out about these horses. This next couple of weeks are going to be huge when it comes to the Derby Trail. Of course, we had, Manual ran really good last weekend. Some of these horses are starting to kind of appear ahead of, some of these other ones, and we're starting to kind of get an idea of who these horses are. And maybe that was a bad segue into the Withers, but maybe there's one. I don't know. We'll find out. Let's kick things off. There's 3. The Withers, the Robert B. Lewis on Sunday, and of course the Holy Bull. We'll get to the Holy Bull next. But the Withers Stakes at Aqueduct is going to kick things off on Saturday for Derby preps. Race 8, it's grade 3, 250K 3-year-olds going a mile and 1/8. You know how I feel about the Withers, Alterman. Of course, the iconic a mile and 1/8 race in early February or late January. It depends on when it falls. It's like, what are we doing? And then it never fails. You got 11 shit horses basically in here, maybe 10. I'll get 10 and a half shit horses in this field running a mile and 1/8. What good is this going to do any of us? But we're going to have to watch it, and we're going to have to bet it. Race the horse 9, early voting, 3-1 morning line favorite for Chad Brown, Jose Ortiz. Maybe he's like he's a half shit horse, half not shit horse.
When this came out and we were talking about what we're gonna do, this guy was like, "I hate the Withers so much. I don't want to do it." I was like, "It's a prep. You got to do it."
I do hate it.
I think there's 2 horses that might be decent in this race. And I think one of them is number 9, early voting. That's who I put on top. This horse won on debut at Aqueduct, Jared's favorite track, on December 18th.
I do like the Wood. I do like the Wood.
Well, yeah, he would. Anyway, anyway, this horse debuted for Chad Brown. Got bet down to 4-5. Chad Brown horses on the dirt debuting. They don't usually take just a ton of money, but this one did. And one like a 4-5 shot should win. Won by a length and a half. Now goes right into the Withers. So I think this has got horse has got a pretty good shot. Another big sign, Jose Ortiz last time in another race that Jared loves, the Jerome. He was on Courvoisier and won very easily. And now he jumps over here to take them out on early voting. So I think the 9 early voting for me going to be on top. My long shot real quick. I like number 4 Gilded Age at 10-1 makes sense. Last time out, this horse put on the blinkers, and it seemed to make a big difference. A nice, easy win at Churchill Downs. So, early voting at 3-1 for me, and then Gilded Age at 10-1. Those are my 2 horses I think could be decent in this race.
I'm going to go with you. I ended up going with the 9 early voting just from pretty much everything you laid out. This horse, looked pretty good on debut back in December. And then, of course, Jose Ortiz rode that day and then jumps back. Gunrunner horse, big, Clairvich. Surely this horse is better than Highly Motivated, right? I mean, maybe it's the same. Maybe it's the same kind of horse. We'll find out. But it's a Gunrunner, so this horse, should get better as they go longer. So I think the mile to mile and 1/8 is shouldn't be an issue. But that is my win pick, the 9 early voting. But does give me a little bit of pause. I look at your horse, Gilded Age, and I do like this horse. I have a feeling like I'm going to key this horse, I think, in 2nd and 3rd spots. I just don't know. Off that kind of layoff, the horse did look a lot better when he finally broke his maiden on this 4th try at Churchill in November. But, man, it hadn't seen this horse since November. And, there is a lot of, back class with this. This horse face, as of course, got stomped, but Major General and Rattle and Roll, Ignitus and Giant Game and Call Me Midnight, all these horses that are at least names we know, right? Especially that early in the game. So, and then finally catches a little bit of an easier field, wins. Of course, the distance is not going to be an issue. That's the one thing too. So I can see this horse looking pretty good. I'm going to take a pause on him in this one particular spot. I think the horse that we have, not that it's anything crazy, but it's just like, how about the winner of the Jerome, Courvoisier? I mean, if this horse sits at 9-2, 5-1, I'm wondering if there's not going to be a lack of respect, that was a kind of fluke thing, though he's not going to do that again. But this horse is kind of this horse should get better. The horse has won at a mile and 1/8 before. I think that's a huge thing at this track. So to me, if this horse can kind of go a little bit unnoticed, beat a lot of horses that are already in here. So really your biggest concern are like, Gilded Age and R9 early voting. But I kind of think Courvoisier might get the jump on these horses. And I don't know, like if this horse is getting no respect at 92, 5-1, floats up even more than that, I have no problem playing the 5.
Hey, I'm a fan of Courvoisier. Pick that horse to win the Jerome, and obviously Take Charge Brandy's little foal here. So Take Charge Brandy obviously special to us. I did a video on this horse after that horse won, just kind of saying, look, not a great horse, getting better each race, should get better the longer they go. Maybe, I wouldn't mind playing this horse. I think having him on a ticket somewhere isn't a bad thing. I think he's got a decent shot if early voting shows up and isn't that good.
How about the one Constitution Lawyer? The horse is getting pounded on the morning line at 7-2 off of a big time effort in the main special weight, and that's it. This horse finally broke his maiden on the third try earlier. I guess I should say last month, early January. Puts up the high buyer of the field, so I guess that's what this horse is getting all the respect for on the morning line.
I would tread lightly. That's certainly why, but let's look at something. The horse that he beat long term ran back today at Aqueduct in the first race in a race full of absolute donkeys. Horse had an easy lead, and horse had a huge buyer speed figure advantage and got beat by like 5. He got second and got beat by a 15-1 shot. So let's pause on Constitution Lawyer. That horse may be a little bit overhyped. That buyer may not be quite as accurate. Long-term looking like shit today did nothing for me to help with Constitutional Lawyer. So I would take a pause on that horse.
Yeah, and this horse is obviously not going to, I also wonder too, this horse, got Lasix for the first time that day as well. Of course, won't have him here again. So you kind of wonder how much difference that made as well. And his sloppy track that day, I don't know. Like, plus, I'm with you. The buyer, you don't, given off what we saw today with long term, plus seems like a crazy high buyer. Like, there's just enough there to not. I mean, if that horse is 10-1, great. But 7-2, no thanks.
I can't tell you how bad long term was. I can't even describe it. It was something awful. So,
all right. So you and I are both going to go with the 9 early voting. And I'll go ahead and ask this question on all these, like we do. How serious are you with early voting if this horse wins, like you think?
Oh, serious. You need to play him in every future wager. No, kidding. No, I'm not.
Like, not at all. Like, you don't care. Like, if he dominates, like, you're still gonna be like, yeah, it was the Withers. Who cares?
I mean, he's the one where if he wins and it's impressive, you can get sort of excited about it because he's got the connections and he would be undefeated. He would have to be more impressive than I think he's going to be. Let's put it that way. I don't envision him like winning in a manner where I go, okay, we got to take this horse serious now. I think he'll win. I think he'll look like a lot of horses that win at Aqueduct look.
All right, let's go to Gulfstream Park. Of course, this is the Holy Bull, race 11, the Holy Bull Stakes. Grade 3, we're $250K for 3-year-olds going 1/1/16 miles. Hey, this makes sense. Mile 16th. It's the first part of the prep season. Like, yeah, of course. Why would they want to run a mile 8th? Yeah, they're doing it right at Gulfstream Park. And remember, go get the all-inclusive 10-page wager guide to the 2022 Holy Bull at racingdudes.com on our products page. Includes in-depth analysis of all 5 stakes on the card. Of course, the Holy Bull on there as well. Get bonus race-by-race analysis and betting suggestions, plus multi-race plays for all of the card at Gulfstream Park on Saturday. Don't forget the Pegasus. We talked about the Pegasus guide, how well the bankroll did. Halterman also hit, I believe, what you clear $1,200 on the multi-race, the first, the pick 4, the pick 5.
Yep. Made about $1,200 on the early pick 4 and pick 5. And of course, that'll be on this wagering guide as well. And like I said, no bankroll article on this one, but definitely have that multi-race page with all the pick 4s and pick 5 tickets.
There you go. So go get that at racingdudes.com on the products page. All right, let's go back to the Holy Bull. We'll give a little preview here. Field of 9 lines up for this one. 5-2 on Mo Donegal for Todd. There's a bunch in here that could be possible, contenders as we move forward. Mo Donegal, the 2 horse at 5-2. 7-2 on Giant Game for Dale Romans. Leah Saez. Simplification, you're 4-1. Choice, Tiz the Bomb at 6-1. White Abario at 6-1. Cajun Magic 8-1. That's that's kind of the major players. But really, to me, Mo Donegal, Simplification, Tiz the Bomb, White Abario, Giant Game. Where are you going in this one?
This is a tricky little one, isn't it? It's this is tough. There's this. I could see this going a lot of different ways. I put Simplification on top. I think if he can get out in front like he did last time out and get comfortable, I think he's going to be tough to beat. It's very important to note the 1.16 is a very short stretch at Gulfstream Park. So you want that speed, and that's why I like Simplification. I think if he runs that race he ran last time out, I think they'll be kind of tough. It'll be tough to catch him. Another horse I like with speed, though, is White Abario, and that horse is another one who could get the trip. So I like those 2 as far as the top 2, the 4 and the 8. I'll comment on a couple more that I think are just interesting. Mo Donegal, comes out of the Rimson. People are like, yeah, I don't know about the Rimson. I would keep an eye out for him when they stretch back out again. I don't think the situation's going to be right for him to win. I don't think the short stretch is going to help him, but keep an eye. I don't think he's going to be your typical Rimson winner. I think he's decent. Gosh, Jared, Giant Game seems like he should have a big shot here. Yeah, there you go. Saez gets a board. That's a good sign. I know it's Dale Romans, but he does get Saez. That's a good sign. I think he's got a shot at it. I just didn't want to pick him on top. But those are kind of the 4 I'm kind of looking at as of now. But yeah, Simplification. I'm hoping that the speed holds up pretty well, and it usually does at this distance at Gulfstream.
I previewed this race with Magic on our YouTube page. You can go check that out on our YouTube channel for the Holy Bull. And there's a ton to like about Giant Game. I like everything except for the one factor of who he's trained by, and that's Dale Romans. And I just can't. Big reason. And I just can't. I get that he could win here. He honestly should probably. If you look at he's looked good, but I just don't trust that he can get the job done, and that goes with what his trainer. And I certainly don't believe in his trainer to get this horse to be a prime contender for the Kentucky Derby. That's for sure. Could he win here? Yeah, I mean he could. He should probably. But I'm with you. I do like the 4 Simplification from a speed standpoint. I think this horse is going to be forwardly placed. Obviously, after that Mucho Macho Man just kind of ran away with that one. I think stretching out is not going to be a big deal. This horse has been working well, and I think this horse is going to get brave once again as they turn for home. And I'm with you, man. 6-1 on White Abario. You look back at the Jockey Club race. I mean, this horse was never going to beat Smile Happy that day, but he got behind a wall of horses, had a pretty bad trip there, and then finally, once the horse got out, made some sort of ground there to finish third. Thinking this horse needs to be closer to the pace, needs to be closer to the lead. Get Gaffleone aboard here for the first time. I think that will be nice as well. So I, put a bullet up last time out. I think the horse needs to improve, but I think he could come up and sneak up here and win this thing. All right, Alterman, you and I are both seemingly on exact same pages in this race. So I have the feeling that we're going to see a couple out of this race that might be decent moving forward, because I do think Mo Donegal is a pretty decent horse. And obviously Giant Game is not going to, Dylan Rome is going to run him in every prep he can. He's not going anywhere. We didn't talk about Tiz the Bomb. Let's talk about Tiz the Bomb as a horse, because you talk about a horse, this is the grade 2 Bourbon winner. This is the not winner, but sort of winner if you cash a ticket on him in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf winner. So what do you do with this horse? Because obviously this horse is talented. He's been on the turf last 3 races, did win, broke his maiden by 14, won by 14 lengths at Ellis Park on the dirt. So what the hell do you do with this? Some people, John White, has as like the number one Derby prospect.
I can't see it. I don't even have this horse in the top 4. I just can't see it. There's not very often a horse switches back to the dirt and wins. I can't see it at all. And I might get beat by this horse, but it's just I don't know. His best figures have come on the turf, and those figures aren't as good as 4 or 5 of these horses are on the dirt. And so, in my opinion, that tells you he's going to have to move to the dirt and improve. I just don't think that's a logical situation. The other thing, I think he gets a little bit too far behind in this race. Even if he runs really, really well, I don't think he will win still, because I just want horses with a little bit more natural speed in this spot. So, I never really liked him even on the turf. And that you might be like, well, that was dumb. Well, yeah, he did beat me a couple times, but I'm not a fan of him. So the fact that John has him number 1, it has been puzzling to me for a month. Maybe he gets the last laugh. I'm not a fan of Tiz the Bomb here. I think you toss him.
Yeah, I think I used him in my top 4 at the Breeders' Cup. I just because I did like the bourbon a decent amount, but no, I mean, he's a turf horse. That's what I thought. It just, to me, it has the feeling of like, hey, we ran on the dirt once before and he ran well. Let's try it again. It's Derby season. Why not? And that's what, honestly, I have a feel like, it feels like the 6, Tiz the Bomb, Mo Donegal, and Giant Game are all going to like make some sort of ground and some sort of run. It just, this race feels way out of their wheelhouse a little bit, I feel like. And it seems like it's going to lean towards simplification. And Wide Barrio. I don't necessarily think that maybe the best horse is going to win this race, but I do think it favors simplification.
Let me ask you this. If, let's say, simplification, Wide Barrio start to come back to him, and the closers have a shot, Mo Donegal, Tiz the Bomb, Giant Game, who do you want out of those 3?
Probably Mo.
I think you're right. It's weird. If Giant Game was trained by Pletcher, I think that horse would probably be favored, and I think we might like him a lot better. He seems to have the talent, but I think I'm with you. I think Mo Donegal would probably be who I would take out of the closers.
You also wonder, okay, and I don't, he's a horse that lost on debut pretty easily, Giant Game. Broke his maiden the next time out at Keeneland, a nice Keeneland race. Call Me Midnight, the same Call Me Midnight that just won at Fairgrounds, finished second that day. And then they send the horse straight to the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, where he finishes a good third to Corniche and Papa Cap. We haven't seen Corniche back. Papa Cap, didn't run awful at Fairgrounds, but wasn't great. So you just really don't know. Like, I hate giving him too much credit for basically kind of a fluke performance or freak performance by Call Me Midnight, and then obviously Corniche we haven't seen. It's like horse still like he's not winning. Like, I need a horse that's like I can trust, and that I think he's got promise. I just don't know that it's going to be here yet. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he pops a big race, because I think he's got talent. I think he looks like a really decent horse, but I just don't trust him enough to bet him.
Well, I'll put him in multis for sure, but as far as like betting to win, I just couldn't stomach it.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that Saez gets aboard, Nick, is definitely a plus, right?
He's ridden for Roman 6 times in the last year, and they won one of those races, but hit the board in all 6. So it tells you when Saez is on one of his horses, they're a good one. They're alive. Yeah. That's why I'm saying put him in the multis. I can't put him on top. So
I've heard a few people ask about Spin Wheel. Spin Wheel. Any thoughts on Spin Wheel at all? If this pace melts down, is Spin Wheel running?
No, I don't give Spin Wheel much of a chance.
I don't either, but
I think if Spin Wheel wins this race, it means nobody really ran how we thought they were going to.
I agree. All right, so moving forward, Halterman, do you think a couple of these come out of this that you semi take seriously?
Yeah, I think so. I think the Pletcher horse. I think Giant Games one that, like I said, he's going to be around. I would not be shocked at all if Giant Games in the Derby. I think that they'll run him, find their spots. Yeah, and then we'll see on Simplification or White Barrio, see what happens with them. But I think we'll see 2 or 3. I think it's a pretty strong running this year.
I agree. I think a few might come out of this thing. I think it should be a good running of the Holy Bull. So
Yep.
definitely wait. Stay tuned for that one on Saturday. We'll go to Sunday now. Yeah, the Robert B. Lewis this year is on Sunday. Race 8 at Santa Anita Park. Grade 3 Robert B. Lewis, 200K, 3-year-olds going mile 16, field of 5. Lines up for this one. You got 2 Baffords, a Callahan, Doug O'Neill, and Cabo Spirit. I'm not even going to try. How do you pronounce the Papa Pramato? Sure. Halterman, this worked out quite well for you and your fantasy team, Messier and Sir London. You got 2 of the 5 in the field, and honestly, let's throw out the 3. So you got 2 out of the 4 in here. So you got a 50-50 shot of winning this thing, it seems like. You got one of the Baffords. He's got to face Wharton, who's a little bit untested, but seemingly a good horse. John Velasquez is on Messier. Pratt, who you would think would be on a Baffert. Of course, he rode Messier the last 3 times. Stays put on Sir London for Simon Callahan. So how much are you reading into this kind of these jockey moves?
This is interesting. I think it's a 2-horse race between Messier and Sir London. I know there are a few people that like Wharton, but I don't think it's a good sign that Hernandez is the jockey for Wharton. I just don't think that's a great sign at all. So I think he'll run well, but I think for the win, it's between Messier and Sir London. I kind of think Pratt may have got the blame for what happened at Los Al, is how I took it. He got Messier beat to slow down Andy. Messier was 2-5 and lost that race. I think he got replaced by John Velasquez. But like I said, Pratt's rode Sir London all 3 times. This horse is solid. Last time out, really impressive. But I'll stick with Baffert here. I'm going to go number 1 Messier on top. It's a weak field. I don't think he's, quote unquote, given up on this horse yet. I think he's still pretty high on him. You look at the workouts, this horse has been real sharp in the mornings for Bob Baffert. So I'm going to go with Messier on top.
Yeah, I think it's between those 2, right? The 1 and the 2. I mean, it's hard to believe that there'd be a race that usually, if you got Baffert, especially you got 2 Baffords in 5-horse fields, like one of them is going to be on the lead. But it kind of feels like the 2 Sir London might be the horse that's going to the lead. And I kind of like Pratt here on this horse back aboard here. And I know maybe like that could have happened with Messier and the Los Al, but I do say this. I think Messier has every opportunity here to kind of bounce back. I really wanted him in the fantasy league this year because the Los Al charity had just happened and kind of this horse went down on the draft a little bit, but I still feel like, this seemed like the horse, because at the same time, if he wins the Los Al, like he's like top 3 pick in the draft, right?
Yeah.
So that's how different 1 links could make in the fantasy league. So he did beat Forbidden Kingdom. Of course, Forbidden Kingdom came back to win. That was going 7 furlongs. He stretches out. This horse has all the makings to be. Of course, he can't earn points, but he has all the makings to be a legit Derby horse. And to me, it's between those 2 easily. I'm gonna go Sir London on the pace setup. Plus, I'm gonna imagine the odds aren't out yet, but I'm gonna imagine you're gonna get a better value on Sir London. Not a ton better, but a little bit better than the Messier. So I'm gonna go Sir London, but I really think. I don't think I'd feel confident. That's great for you because you have both of them, but I don't feel confident enough on one or the other. So I'd probably play both of them in my multis.
Yeah, we'll kind of see how it shakes out. I haven't looked at all the factors yet as far as what's around. I've looked at this race, but not what's around it. So if you can, it might be a decent strategy. If you have to single somewhere, this is probably where you need to. What the budget entails, what those other races entail, will make that decision. But I'm with you. they seem like they're hard to separate for sure.
Now, I'll make one case for Wharton. Could this be a situation that he's kind of trying to kind of pull one over on everybody? This is the
Yes.
horse. I might consider using him if I have the budget, because you sure hate to get beat by Baffert at like 5-1 or whatever this horse. He made him at 5-1, but in a 5-horse field, but still, because I think getting Hernandez aboard kind of gives you pause, right? Like you mentioned, especially the fact that Velasquez was on him last. Now he's on the one, but everything else about this horse screams like this is going to be like a freak of a horse, right?
Yes. I'm very worried that he's being a sneaky bastard here. Very.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Also, the other part of it is, if he thought this was his best horse, he would put Velasquez on it. It's the same ownership group, right? So you're not going to dick around with a Derby contender at the same time. You wouldn't think, at least. So I think we can trust it, but it is Baffert, so we'll see. It wouldn't be the first time he's done that.
So how deep would you feel comfortable? And would you have to go 3 deep then? Both Bafferts and Sir London?
I'm going to leave Wharton out. I'm going to let him prove it to me. I'm going Messier, Sir London. I think in a 5-horse field, if you go now you're 3 deep, it's like, okay, come on. Like you can't do this,
All right. And finally, I'm with you on that. I think you got 5 horses in this field. How many? Obviously, let's forget. I mean, who knows what's going to happen with this Derby shit? But like, let's forget the fact that Baffert can't earn points for these races. But he's got. I mean, Messier is obviously a very legit contender moving forward. Sir London would be. Wharton would be. I mean, a lot of these would be really, but those would be the 3 that you would. Happy Jack, of course, was really good on debut. So if he bounces or runs it well again, any of those horses would be kind of throw themselves into like being contenders for the Derby right now, but especially either Baffert horse.
Yeah, I mean, I think you'll see a couple. I think you got a couple of horses that are probably Derby caliber, and I think it's Messier and Sir London. I don't know about Wharton again. I want to see what he does here. First time going 2 turns as well. We'll see what happens, but I think you get 2 of them out of here. I really do. And past that, we'll see. It's hard to say you're going to get 3 of the horses in a 5-horse Robert B. Lewis in the Derby. So I'll stick with 2.
Yeah, and Nick says it's kind of hard to, from a betting perspective, 5-horse field, you kind of have to make a case here, right? And just kind of move on. So, whoever if you want a single, do it and just be prepared that you've got to make your case and just, live with it. If, because it is, even though it is a small field, there's many scenarios here. And when Baffert's got 2 in there, you got to be careful with. So I'm with you on that, though. I think we have some legit contenders, and I think we might see. It could be Messier. Messier obviously is the big one, right? Because he had the hype. If he bounces back, runs huge, kind of what we thought he would be. He bounces back, and he's a legit Baffert contender. When we're sitting here saying, where the hell is Corniche? We don't know who Baffert's like, quote unquote star is yet. Maybe it's Messier. We'll find out on Sunday. I've got Sir London on top. You got Messier.
So I don't think this is the best 3-year-old that's running at Santa Anita on Sunday. I think Adair Manor in the Lost for Jeans is really good.
Yes.
So we'll see what happens with her.
She's a little bit of a freak. That's race 3 on the day. If he tells you anything, how this horse is going to be bet.
Right.
Won by 12 last time out. This is isn't this a horse that's on Oaks? She can't get points, but
no.
All right. It's been too quiet. I've texted my niece a few times and they're alive. So, but it's just a good start.
You're living on borrowed time. Let's wrap it up.
It's always funny. The ones that when I like don't have like sitters and stuff, like they always go longer. So like, maybe it's subconsciously me taking my time.
Yeah, I'd say that's it.
Yeah, I'm working. All right. It's all the time we have. Check us out at racingdudes.com for our free picks and, of course, our premium selections on our products page. Click the Get Racing Dudes premium button on the menu at racingdudes.com to learn more. Remember to go check out the inside tracks of the 2022 Holy Bull Wager Guide, now available. You can get that 10-page wager guide for this weekend at Gulfstream Park, Saturday at Gulfstream Park for the Holy Bull. Of course, the entire card as well. We are your destination site for all free horse racing picks to all major horse racing tracks. We're on Twitter at racing_dudes, Instagram and Facebook. You can listen to all episodes of Blinkers Off by visiting our podcast page at racingdudes.com. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Stitcher, Captivate, or you can watch all these episodes. We strongly encourage you to watch all these episodes on our YouTube page. Just go to our YouTube page, Racing Dudes, and subscribe and hit the notification so you get notified when we do these videos live, and all our videos go out live. We have tons of content coming up on there currently, so go check that out on our YouTube page. The Magic Mike Show, go check them out as well. They did the Stronach 5 preview for tomorrow. So Friday's racing, if you want some action for tomorrow, the Friday Stronach 5, go check them out. The Magic Mike Show, you can find them on all those same channels as well. Nothing to talk about this weekend in terms of football. I don't want to talk about the Chiefs. I'm not ready, not in the place yet for that. So we're not gonna discuss that. But they are at the Pro Bowl, some of the guys, and I'm like, I don't know. It's like stop having fun. Like, we happy you're at the Pro Bowl? You get to go at the Pro Bowl? Like, I'm still very unhappy about the whole thing. So, I mean, like, you should be disappointed. You should be sulking like I am still. But no. Yeah. So we'll talk about the Super Bowl next week, obviously, with the Rams and the Bengals. So stay tuned for that. Of course, go check out the Dudes Who Bet Sports show. They got, of course, tons of content. What'd you guys talk about? You had nothing to talk about this weekend. What'd you talk about?
Yeah, we did college basketball, and actually it was pretty good to say. Papa Dude is obsessed with college basketball, so he was all over that. I just let him kind of talk on that. And then we did an NBA future wager for the championship. That was pretty interesting. And we did NHL future wager for the Stanley Cup. And we talked about the Olympics to close off the show. So it was good.
Wow, you're well-rounded show. So make sure you go check that out. All the same channels, of course. Go to our racingdudes.com/sports, and you can get content for sports as well. All right, Halterman, final thoughts? You good?
Man, I don't have much. I think everybody just enjoy the weekend. Oh, we'll be live. We'll definitely do a live show again. No. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. My final thought is Danhausen, his shirt dropped on AEW's website, merchandise. And it's been available for 2.5 days. And it's the best-selling shirt in the past 30 days on AEW's website. And it's only been available for 2.5. So
wow.
I'll tell you the popularity of Danhausen.
Danhausen shirt. Let me
you want me to pull it up?
Yeah, pull it up.
Okay. I have one. Well, I ordered one.
Yeah, I figured you ordered a few.
Let's see. Where's Danhausen? Easy to find. Just go to top sellers.
It's amazing that every time you keep owning more and more shirts. Every time I see you, you've got a different AEW shirt on.
I know. That's true. Oh, well, hold on. Gotta get this off of here.
Oh, look at that. That's pretty
There it is. Whoops. Oh no.
You're gonna get some looks in public with that, though.
I don't care.
Very elite, very evil. Nice.
So yeah, that's my final thought. Danhausen. Support that Danhausen or be cursed.
Okay. Oh man, honestly, I was gonna tell you is I think I'm gonna encourage you to get your own Twitter account, because the more I'm on Twitter, the more wrestling accounts I feel like we follow now.
Yeah, we do follow a lot of them now.
I'm like, why am I keep seeing all this? It's normal. I'm used to the OU stuff. Of course, he has to deal with some Chief stuff, and so we could. But now I'm like, wrestling. Like, why is there? At first, I'm like, why is everybody talk? Like, everyone talks about AEW. I'm like, oh, well, it's because he's following all the same people. So there you go. Get your own Twitter. Get your own Twitter account.
Well, then what happens is I'll follow one or two, and then you get those suggested tweets, and it's all over. Yeah.
Yeah. Jeez.
Yeah.
All right, that's a
But
wrap,
yes,
guys.
Go to AEW, buy Danhausen's shirt. He needs all of our human monies. Support Danhausen or be cursed.
Okay. All right, that's a wrap, guys. I'm Jared Waltz. He's Aaron Alterman. He's Danhausen. Good luck this weekend.